Good afternoon, I'm Jeff. I'm a Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 414 South Harrison Street here in Newburgh. We're located at the front of the house is over here, kind of at the end of the little driveway. Got these two doors that meet here in a corner. Right next to that we've got a 3-inch ABS cleanout. This will be my point of access. I'm going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Currently have water running. As soon as I get here to the bottom of the cleanout, I'm going to zero out the camera counter right here and refer to this spot as the point of access. Here we go. We're going to revisit this spot on the way back out with the water turned off. Hopefully have a little bit clearer picture of what's going on there. And now that I've got going through here a little bit, it appears that we've got a ABS plastic clean out, but the line here is looking original. This does appear to be Orangeburg pipe, which is a tar paper product that was banned sometime around the late 50s. It's extremely prone to failure. It fails in basically 100% of cases because it just collapses under the weight of the ground around it and deforms hugely to anything pushing it out, like roots. So it's very prone to breaking open and letting roots in, as well as losing slope and grade. And going through there, I can already tell the bottom of that pipe is very deformed. And it did transition here a moment ago. It's hard to say if that was 3-inch Orangeburg or 4-inch, but it's transitioned over to what I think is 4-inch terracotta pipe, or the diameter is what's unknown. It's definitely terracotta though. Looks like some, actually I'm sorry, those are cobwebs. It's looking like mostly cobwebs there. And at the end we'll drain out the line. We have a clearer picture of everything that's going on. And we got stuff like this going on. What this looks like to me is we've got dirt and stuff that's pouring in from the outside of the pipe. Looks like it's it's possible it's excess pipe grout. That's kind of hard to say. This looks like you just got a lot of dirt and stuff and possibly roots trying to push their way through the outside of the joint. This joint here has become somewhat offset there. You can see at the top of the pipe it's split apart. Looks like we've got a something going on here coming up through the bottom of this joint. Not sure if that's roots or what that. Oh, and right here at 72 feet we've reached the main lateral. I'm going to turn the water off with the line drain out here for a moment. Alrighty, pretty much all the water should be drained out of the line at this point. Looks like some is still trickling off here. I'm not sure what that is. It's sticking up from the joint. I can't tell if that's roots or what that is exactly, or if it's some sort of object that got stuck here in the line. But I'm looking at the thing there, it's sticking up. It looks like it has two prongs. Now this joint here looks like it's become quite offset, leading right up to the connection to the main lateral. I don't know if it's allowing water to escape the line, but it's definitely become offset by a portion there. I went out and just located this spot here, marked it with a white X. It's also where the line meets the main lateral at. I can't remember, but I do believe that the city of Newburgh maintains part of the sewer line, basically the line from the curb out to where it connects to the main, or in that general vicinity. There's not very much debris that's caught up there at that joint. I don't know what the little prong looking thing is. It's hard to say if that's roots or some other object that's just stuck in the pipe. Looks like we have some worms trying to come here. That is incredibly gross. Sorry to show that. Coming through the pipe there. And this is my concern here, is that this is how compromised the joints are. They're opened up to the ground. Things like this are getting through. Because I see that there, that joint doesn't even have roots through it, but you can see that the worms are going in and out of it, which means it's opened up to the ground, and can and probably will allow roots to come through at some point. This joint here looks like it's either completely offset or it's partially broken. It's kind of hard to see with the angle I've got on it. That joint there is opened up to the ground. The good thing is the vast majority of the terracotta pipe here has good slope and grade throughout it, which means it drains out well. We've got stuff like this going on where you just have tons of mud and junk pouring in, it looks like, from the outside of the line. And it's possible that's grout from when they first installed the line, but that looks more like dirt and mud to me. Because these terracotta joints are compromised in that way, I recommend doing a sleeve to sleeve the entire terracotta section, which will seal off those joints. It will keep any water from escaping the line, but also keep any roots out that may try and intrude through the joints. When they're that opened up like that, it's very easy for roots to get through. But you can see that as I pull back through here, the terracotta section is draining out well. I mean, especially for the age of the line, it's got very little debris in it, really. So it looks like everything's been flowing from point A to point B for the most part like it should. There's a little standing water in spots like this. This is only about 1/4 of an inch, which is very minimal. But I would recommend sleeving the terracotta section so that's fully updated and sealed off and isn't going to become a problem down the road. Looks like the dishwasher is discharging. I'll have to wait for that to drain out here. Alrighty, so most of the water is now drained out of the line. We're back in the Orangeburg section here. At this point, given the age of the line, luckily the terracotta section is working. My concern is the future of the line and those joints. They all basically look to be compromised at this point. It's a miracle that roots haven't come through through any of the joints at this point. Either way, though, many of them look like they may be allowing water to seep out. There's a couple joints that are open to the ground that's visible. And then you have the joint with the worms coming through that's obviously opened up to the ground. So because of that, I recommend updating the sewer line from the cleanout out to the main lateral. At the very least, get this Orangeburg section updated. As I pull back through here, look at how deformed the bottom of the pipe is. That should be all round and smooth, and all that bumpy stuff is the actual pipe itself. It's just incredibly deformed, and likely is probably split open at some point here. It's just covered up by grease and debris. My guess is it probably is allowing water to seep out in places. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to map this section out using paint. The terracotta on out, I recommend sleeving that, as there's no roots in it. The standing water is minimal enough that it's not affecting flow. It's a very short section of standing water here at the beginning of the terracotta. But the terracotta section is it is functioning. But again, my concern are those joints. So in my opinion, it's time to update this sewer line. Okay, I've located and marked this spot here. It's right around 2 feet deep. Unfortunately, the line does appear to run down underneath the driveway. So yeah, this is under concrete here. It's pretty shallow. But that's why I recommend doing the sleeve versus the excavation on the terracotta portion. If this part can be sleeved as well, the Orangeburg section, it would be worth doing. I just don't know if that's even possible. It may be too out around to do any sleeving on it. So this portion here from the clean out to 15 feet is the Orangeburg pipe. It's in very, very bad shape, very deformed. That's why I recommend updating the Orangeburg section here. This hopefully is the only section that actually has to be dug up, as the terracotta section here is a good candidate for sleeving, as it still drains well. It just needs those joints sealed off so they don't lead to erosion problems from the water leaking out, as well as roots and things like that. Because if that water is escaping at any joints, it will continue to, as the dirt and everything erodes from underneath the pipe, it can cause it to settle and get worse with time. So it's at a stage now where it'd be good to do a full update on the line. And I did an X marking there. That's right where it meets the terracotta. I'm going to do another marking right here at about 7 feet. Just a line showing the direction the pipe runs, and then the last marking right up against the clean out. The reason I'm not mapping out the terracotta section is I do believe it being under concrete, it's probably cheaper to update it by sleeving or lining than to actually trench it all up because of the concrete on top of it. Okay, just did a white arrow here. This is also under concrete, of course. I'm going to pull back here to the clean out. But yeah, I mean, you can see this spot right here. You can see where the pipe is actually torn away from the sidewall there. It's collapsing in on itself. This portion right leading up to it, though, is plastic. This is where it switches to Orangeburg here at 2 feet out. So I'll do an X marking right here. And this will indicate between the two X's the Orangeburg section of the pipe that I recommend replacing. The terracotta portion, I still recommend updating. I'm not mapping it out because I think sleeving is going to be a better option here. But I think in the entirety of this external part of the sewer line needs to be updated at this point. Alrighty, I have the Orangeburg section mapped out here. Once again, it's kind of a run through. I recommend replacing the Orangeburg section here from 2 feet out to 15 feet. Again, all of that resides under the concrete. It's actually right around 2 feet 7 inches deep here, right at the beginning. It says 2 feet on the rest of them. It's general as you've got concrete to go through. Right around 2 feet in depth. Recommend replacing the Orangeburg section due to the damage to the Orangeburg. It's very deformed, collapsing, tearing away in spots. And then the terracotta section, I recommend updating by a liner or sleeve. If it turns out the excavation's cheaper, that's great, but generally when the line's running under concrete like this and you don't have to excavate at all, sleeving is usually the way to go. But the line from the essentially from the clean out to the main lateral, I recommend updating.